problem is the same steps you have to take when you do polynomial long division. So, first thing is you look at the very first number out in front, right? We look at that 6, and we decide what can I multiply 4 by to get as close as possible to 6.
1.
And we put that above the 6. And then you do 1 times... 1 times 4 is 4.
6 minus
and then you subtract, right? That's going to be important. As your next step is you subtract those. 6 minus 4 is 2. What do you do next?
Yeah, this is really going to make me itch.
Bring down the 5. Then you have to look back. You have 25 now. You look back at that 4. What can you multiply 4 by to get close to 25?
6.
That goes above the 5 there. 6 times 4 is?
24.
And then what do?
You subtract.
Subtract.
Are we
Get
doing
1.
Are we doing decimals or are we doing
Nope.
remainders?
Neither. Bring down the 8 next, yes?
Yep. 4 times 4.
4 times 4 gets me as close as possible to that 18. 4 times 4 is 16. Subtract. You got 2.
Add a 0.
I can't multiply. We're not doing decimals.
Oh.
I can't multiply the 4 by anything to get 2. So that is technically your remainder. But how you're writing your remainder today is as a fraction. What are we trying to divide that 2 by still?
4.
So that, if you write that as a fraction, 2 divided by 4 would look like this, yes?
1/2.
So it's technically 1/64 and 1/2.
That's sick.
I don't like that.
Ooh, look at all those colors that you
Can I use 0.5?
No. What we're going to do today, you can't do 0.5. So we're doing fraction remainders. Whatever is the remainder, you're turning it into a fraction. All right, the next one. Can we do this real quick? This is just getting you used to the process. 1, subtract 5, 2, bring down the 2, 4, 20, subtract 2,
9.
bring down the 9,
5 times 5
5.
is 25.
25, subtract.
Bring that 4 down.
145.
4/5.
4/5 is the remainder. Okay? So I put the steps on the side there. First thing is you should arrange the terms in descending order if they're not in that order. So ours are already in that order. I'm going to go ahead and set up the division problem. X squared plus 14x plus 45 is your dividend. You're dividing that by the divisor, x plus 9, that goes on the outside. So then here's the question you have to ask yourself. Step 2. What do you multiply the outside thing by, the divisor by, to get the very first term?
X.
So to get x squared, I'm going to multiply just that x by another x, right? That's what I need. I need another x to get x squared.
Yes, sir.
Now here's the part you have to remember. What goes here is not just x times x, but you have to do x times x plus 9. You have to multiply that whole thing. X times x is x squared. X times 9 is
9x.
9x. So make sure you multiply by the whole divisor.
And then subtract.
And then here's, I underline this, you may want to circle it, highlight it, something. You have to subtract. And how many things am I subtracting right now?
2 things.
So my suggestion is I always put a minus sign outside and then I distribute it in. Because now the x squareds cancel. That's x squared and negative x squared.
0.
But now I have 4x minus 9x because we're subtracting. That changes it to a minus 9x.
14x minus 9x?
Yeah, 14x minus 9x, yes. You get 5x.
Yeah.
What do I do next?
Plus 45.
Bring down the 45. So that's plus 45.
And you gotta figure
And now I need to figure out what I can multiply this outside thing by to get 5x.
5.
The x is already there, so I just need the 5, right?
Yeah, don't forget yourself.
And then I'm doing 5 times x plus 9 to figure out what goes there.
5x plus 45.
5x plus 45.
Distribute the minus sign.
And what What operation am I doing now?
Subtraction.
This is the part you got to remember. This is what makes long division difficult, is you have to remember to subtract. That's the only place that I see people really make mistakes, is in the subtraction stuff. Those cancel. 45 minus 45 is
0.
0. So there's
X
no
plus
remainder.
5.
So your answer is just what you wrote on top. X plus 5 is the answer. That's what you're going to see in the back of the book. So when you check these, whatever you wrote on the top is your answer. Yes?
Why is it two factors in the beginning and then just cancel out?
Because that's not what we're practicing today.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of them are going to have, when you look at this one, what do you want to do first?
Prime.
Put it in the right order.
I like your thinking.
2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 11x plus 7.
Yes.
X minus 3.
But you gotta do, what you,
So now you look at that very first term and you look at the x and you figure out
2x squared, right?
we need a 2 and we need 2 more x's. 2x squared.
Yes.
Whatever you write on top, you have to multiply by both parts of the divisor. So that's going to turn into 2x cubed
Mama, I'm
minus 6x squared.
Yes.
And then make sure you're subtracting here.
Oh, wait, because then it would be positive 6, right?
That's going to be a positive 6. These cancel out like they're supposed to. If those don't cancel, you didn't do something right. Those are supposed to cancel. And now this is negative 3 plus 6, because I changed my sign, so it's 3x squared.
And minus 11.
Bring down the minus 11x.
So what you gonna do with 3x?
I need a 3 and I need an x to get 3x squared, right?
Yep.
3x times x is 3x squared.
Yep.
And then make sure you go back and do 3x times negative 3. That's
Negative
minus
9x.
9x. Subtract. Those cancel. Negative 11x plus 9 is negative 2x. Bring down the plus 7. What do I multiply x by to get negative 2x?
Minus 2.
You're going to have minus 2 up there. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Minus 2 times minus 3 is
Positive 6.
positive 6. And don't jump ahead of yourself. Please make sure you always go back and subtract. We're subtracting still.
Cancel out the 2.
Those cancel.
1.
I do have a remainder here. And notice I wrote up there, express the remainder as a fraction. So at the end you're going to put plus 1 over
X minus 3.
x minus 3 over what you divided by.
Merge it.
Because that's what we want to try and divide 1 by, but I can't divide 1 by x minus 3, so I leave it as a fraction, 1 over x minus 3.
Why is it plus?
Because you're just adding it on to the end. If it were, like, sometimes you can have negative remainders. If it were a negative number, I would put minus there. But you're just tacking it onto the end of that polynomial. Well, really, it's not a polynomial anymore when you put that on there, but.
Yeah, let's do
Good?
simple division.
So when you get this one, and this is going to be super important tomorrow when we talk about synthetic division. What's your degree right now on the polynomial?
Cubed. Well, no.
The first one.
Oh, 4.
4. What you need to watch for, if you have a degree of 4, technically if you decrease from there, you have to the 4th, to the 3rd, squared, x, and then a constant. You should have one more
Does it have to be you?
than the degree and when you count the number of terms. How many terms are up there right now?
1, 2,
Oh,
3.
you have to add the zero.
There's a missing one, yes?
Yeah.
If there's a missing one, just so it comes out nice and organized, I add it in. So do you see that it skipped there? You want to put a 0x squared. If you forget that, it's just not going to line up nice, and you might be able to work your way through it still. But tomorrow, if you forget the 0, you won't get the right answer. Tomorrow we're doing synthetic division. You have to put the 0 in. So I'm going to plug that 0x squared in to hold a place, because we want everything to be represented. You want everything to line up nicely here. And then here's the other weird thing. This is a little bit more difficult than what you would have seen last year, is we actually have a squared in the thing we're trying to divide by. So now we have x squared already. We need to think, what do I multiply x squared by to get to 2x to the 4th? I need a 2, and how many more x's? I need 2 more x's, so 2x squared. Take that 2x squared and multiply. 2x to the fourth, and then minus 4x cubed. And what's that next step that I gotta remember to do? After I write those underneath, what do I have to do with them?
Oh, subtract.
Yeah, distribute the minus, subtract. Those cancel, this turns into 7x cubed. Bring down that nice placeholder here. That's going to make sure everything lines up in the next step. How am I going to get 7x cubed? What do I multiply x squared by to get 7x cubed?
7.
I need a 7, and I need another x, yes? So I'm going to put plus 7x up on the top. 7x times x squared is 7x cubed. 7x times 2x, or negative 2x, is negative 14x. Subtract. Whoops, I forgot my squared back there. You get positive 14x squared.
Yeah.
Bring down the minus 7x. What do I multiply x squared by to get 14x squared? Positive 14. 14 times x squared is 14x squared. 14 times minus 2x is minus 28x. Change your signs here. I get 21x. Minus 10. Is there anything I can multiply x squared by to get 21x? No, we are now under that degree. There's no way to get that. That is your remainder. Plus 21x minus 10 over x squared minus 2x over what we're trying to divide by.
You can't simplify it right now.
You can't simplify that. You just leave it. Everybody say hi, Mari.